Hello, everybody. I love the countdown. I
Great.
just think it's awesome. I'm like jamming in the background. I'm like dun 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 dun. So I just think it's awesome. Welcome, 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 everybody. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. Come on in. You know, we're on Greek time, which is always a couple minutes later. So we're going to give everybody a chance to come on in and say hello. Let us know where you're from. Remember, guys, tonight I'm giving two things away. Two things. So you got to stay for the whole thing. If you want to go ahead and get a chance to win half an hour session with me and the grand prize an hour session with me. So I'm super excited. So come on in and say hello. Sue Melman, I'm not missing you. I know, see? You got it. And Beth, good to see you. Claudette, so good to see you, my friend. Claudette's all the way from Hawaii.
Wow.
Nina, good to see you. Thank you for joining us tonight. I am so excited. I can't wait. We'll wait a couple more minutes and then we'll introduce my special guest. And Ellen, good to see you. Pat Johnson, happy St. Patty's Day. You know, this morning, Pat, you missed it. I did my very bad version of an Irish accent, and the only way I could do it is this. You have to get into the character, right? Lucky Charms, they're magically delicious. So that's the only thing I can say that's fast. Gabriella, good evening. How are you this evening? Tikanis posise, which means how are you in Greek? Danielle, thank you for joining us. So good to see you. Karen, hello. Diane, hello. Mary Love, happy St. Patrick's Day to you, Mary. You are in Hinesville, Georgia, visiting your son. Yes, you are. Hey, Sharon. Good to see you, Sharon. Nita, good evening. Heard your accent this morning, Oh, you heard my accent this morning. Rather like it, don't you know? Yeah, that's about as best as I can do. Otherwise, it turns into a different accent automatically. We're not going to go there. Susan, good to see you. Jennifer, good to see you, Jennifer. I'm so glad so many of my friends are on here this evening, and it just warms my heart to see you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Nan, you make me laugh. Thanks, Nan. I like this picture, Nan. It's roses, right? And thinking it's roses. It's beautiful. And Christina, good to see you all the way from Maine. Thank you so much, guys. So glad that you guys are here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, 703, you know, two of my favorite numbers, 3 and 7. And I want to introduce you to this wonderful, oops, wrong side. I can't do that. Oh, no, right there. See, it's crazy. This woman right here, not polite to point, so I'm going to do this. My friend Intissar Ben Halim, who is here tonight. I'm so excited to have her here. She is an integrative psychotherapist, and she is out of Pennsylvania. And tonight, remember, March is all about renewal. So tonight, we're going to talk about renewal of self, and what does that mean? And what's the whole body, mind, spirit connection? And why is that important? And why is it important to renew? So, and we're going to take some questions too. So, welcome, 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 Intissar. Thank you so much. You want to tell a little bit about what you do, and we'll talk about how we met.
Okay. Thank you so much, Elias, for having me. This is exciting. I've watched all your lives. I never thought I would actually be in one. So this is a big deal. Woo! So yes, I am a licensed clinical social worker, and I'm a licensed Gestalt therapist. And Gestalt therapy is basically bringing one to the present moment to experience what is present at this moment in time. It's about really important distinction in Gestalt therapy. Rather than sitting and talking about something over and over again, we actually have dialogue with and talk to. So we find resolution, we find answers. So it's a very experiential process rather than just sitting and talking about something. And what's beautiful about it is because it does integrate the mind, the heart center, and the gut center. So there's more of the whole person coming on board rather than just keep telling and repeating a story from the head, which the head is such an expert at it. But
Oh, of course. Wow. Yeah.
and then we start believing these stories and we keep repeating these stories, and then they get imprinted even more and more, and that's my story. But then we have a story of a heart, a story of a gut that never comes on board. So with using Gestalt therapy and other mindfulness techniques, I'm all about bringing the mind, the body, and the soul together.
And I think that's so important. I mean, we focus so much on the body. We focus about working out and what we're eating, and we're doing that. And then some people just go to a therapist and get all the therapy type stuff. And then maybe somebody will do a meditation, but they don't see it as a union of the three. And before we get more into this, because I know you and I can talk, and we're going to have a lot of people asking questions, I believe. But guys, remember, at the end, I'm giving away 2 things. So please stay with us. Okay. Because I know it's not the normal psychic medium type stuff that we talk about, but we are talking about spirit, everybody. We're talking about what the soul wants. And there's a really important thing that I want to bring up, but I will tell you, Intissar and I met, I can do it that way. Intissar and I met a year ago, and we met on Facebook.
We did.
And it was when the pandemic started.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys remember, I did one a couple days ago, but I did the global meditation, which is one of my favorite ones to do. I feel like, when I really feel like the earth needs community or togetherness, or really focusing on compassion and kindness, that comes together and meshes together. And I really feel that it's such an important piece to talk about. And I think you were on watching one of those guided meditations.
Yeah, and I don't even know how I connected to you, but something led me to you, something bigger than me and you. Yes.
And here we are a year later.
That's it. Yeah.
And again, I don't want to say thank God for the pandemic, but the pandemic brought people together differently. And we would have never met. Nope. And Willow's agreeing. We would have never met. And it's so funny. I have one on the floor that's like not so quiet, not doing anything, and the other one's crazy. But we wouldn't have ever met. And it was, I'm so glad we did. So many wonderful, like many of you guys, so many wonderful friendships have happened in this year. So I'm grateful for that. Now, I've learned something in coaching, which is really, because I was a psych major, but it is really a Gestalt method where you have 3 chairs, and one person sitting in one chair. You have a pillow in another chair, and a pillow in another chair, and you are talking to the heart part of you, and then you will then switch and then have the heart, put the pillow in your empty chair, sit in the heart chair, and have the heart talk to you. Is that correct?
Yes. So you can. Yes, that's correct. You can put anything. We call this the empty chair technique, and you can put anything in the empty chair and have dialogue with it, speak to it. It can be a person you're really mad at. It can be a decision you're trying to make, a job you're trying to decide which job to take, or which house to buy, or whatever it is that you're needing to figure out. You can put them in the empty chair and have dialogue. I mostly do individual sessions, so the other end of the couch is the empty chair, and then people switch whatever it is they're needing to have dialogue with. It's pretty amazing. Just like before I got on this Facebook Live with you, Elias, it was an amazing session with a client because I wasn't intending for this. I always say trust the process, and I trust the process because there's something greater than me working with me and my client. And lo and behold, the session, she renewed like her vows with herself, her relationship with herself.
That's
so I thought, wow, we're talking about renewal today.
Yeah, I think that's amazing.
With self. And I was like, yeah, this is why I love this modality. It's alive. experiential. It gives you what you need. Yeah.
Right. So important. Let me say hello to Sarah May from the UK, all the way from North Wales. And Connie. Hi, Connie. Good to see you. Willow, shush. I think they're fighting over a ball now, is what they're doing. Anyway, so this type of body, mind, spirit integration.
Mm-hmm.
What would somebody benefit by seeing an integrative therapist? What do you feel is a key takeaway from a therapy session?
I think the number one takeaway is that the person doesn't continue living out of the story.
Okay.
The story that has been told, the story that has been created. So it's very limited when we stay only in the head space. And it's hard to make shifts and change because then it's just a decisional, I'm going to make this change. But then you have the rest of you that doesn't know how to make this change, doesn't know how to follow suit. The heart doesn't know how to follow suit from a decision of the head.
Sure. Yeah.
And so that's why it's important in order to bring, usually people are coming to therapy because there's something that's getting in their way. Something's happened. Something's become unbearable. They need to make a shift. They need to make a change. Well, sitting and talking about wanting to make the change isn't going to make the change.
And there are parts, like you said, there's parts of you that want to make the change and other parts that can't make the change.
They can't make the change, absolutely, because almost 100% of the time, the inability to make change is because this pattern that someone holds, or this, whatever it is that they're stuck in, this loop, originated for the purpose of keeping the individual safe or protected.
Sure.
And so it had a very, very important purpose: safety, survival. But as you've moved forward in life, that pattern isn't necessarily important anymore. You don't need that for safety reasons. But because there isn't that integration, we speak of the change that we desperately want, but the heart saying, I need to stay safe, or the gut center is saying, oh, that feels too scary. I'm not going to survive this. And that's why it's so crucial to bring all of it on board.
Right.
On the same level.
When we speak about the gut, for everybody that knows, energetically, when we speak about the gut, that is this chakra here, this energy center here, that is the seat of the emotions.
Yes.
It's all in there. So if this is disconnected from this, which is disconnected from this, then it's almost like, and correct me if I'm wrong, from what I'm understanding is that old tape or that old story gets repeated in here. This isn't hearing it, and this could be telling a whole different story, right? Absolutely. And then you're feeling something completely different here. And no, I didn't do this so you guys can see this is my lucky shirt. But so this chakra is there, like in an energy system, it's misaligned. There's alignment in here. And what are we missing? If it's here, here, and here, then this fifth chakra, this communication piece, is not talking to all of it. Yes. And I'll be honest here, when I got divorced, I did go into therapy because I needed to process. When I was in my relationship of 12 years, we went to couples counseling, and I found that very interesting. And I went back to that counselor because I'm like, I don't want to go ahead and repeat the whole story, life story, blah, 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 and all that. Like, I was adopted, blah, 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 5 foster homes when I was before the age of 18 months old, and do that whole thing. I mean, I'd rather just type it up and go, here's me, read it, I'll be back next week. But I went to her, and that part really helped. She also said to me, she goes, Elias, you really process quickly. And I'm like, not the first time around the rodeo, thank you very much. But it is that understanding, because I walked away from a session going, wait, like you're talking about, I was protecting my heart.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking something else, and that's not what I normally would do. But because I was protecting this wanted a whole different thing. This would have said, go. This would have been like, okay, logically, blah, blah, but, here's how you're thinking and blah, blah, blah. This was like, we're hurt.
Yes.
We're hurt and we needed to go away. We need to do something. And yes, you communicated, but you weren't heard. And that part was going nuts. That part was like, what are you doing to yourself?
Right.
You got into the same pattern again.
Mm-hmm.
And when I connected all of that, I realized that what I did in my relationship, and I'm not shy about this, you guys, what I did in my relationship was typical Greek thing. I tried to fix.
Mm-hmm.
And I am not in charge of fixing anybody. I don't do it with clients. I don't do it on a retreat. I don't do it on a workshop. Why would I want to do that in my marriage? Because, I believed in you. And let me help you. Let me support you.
I see the potential. I see the good in you. I see the potential in you. Yes, I know.
Oh yeah. That's my parents back here. Like, just keep on going, keep on trying, keep on do. Yeah. So we have a question. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just wanted to add to that why it's also so important to integrate the other emotional centers of our body is because when someone's saying, I want to make this change and they're not able to make the change, then they're going to go into what's wrong with me. Why can't I make this change? And all that negative judgment and feeling so down about themselves, while there's all this other information explaining why the change isn't happening. It's not because something is wrong with you, not because you don't have the will, not because you don't have the power to. It's because you have other centers that are not on board and they're trying to protect you. Right?
And with integrative therapy, there's this alignment and an awareness of the alignment.
Absolutely. Yeah. And when you have, so awareness is key. That's number one. And then what do we do beyond the awareness? When there's an awareness, from my perspective,
sure,
you create space and distance from that very narrow story. And when you create this space, that provides the environment, a terrain, the potential for something else. So you can orient yourself towards something else that you've been saying, I want, right?
Sure. I get it. Let's go to some of the comments.
I love that.
Brenda says, hello, thank you for this topic tonight. I'm so glad to be here with you. Isn't this cool, Intissar? You could see
Thanks for being with us, Brenda. That's great.
I'm so glad you like this. I'm so glad. And thank you again so much for being here. I just adore you. I hope you know that, Intissar. I believe in everything that you do. I really do. I can't wait to see you live on stage and being a motivational speaker someday and having your books and everything. I can't wait. All right. So Mary Loves asks, so how do you step over the fear to the renewal of self? Okay. Great question.
I love the question. So the way that I practice, I will ask you and invite you to befriend the fear. So I don't step over anything because that fear is information. That fear is going to let you know what is getting in the way to that self-renewal, right? So I'll sit and if you were with me, we would befriend the fear. There's, processes that I go through because that's a resistance to the change. So all resistances, we befriend them. We don't fight them because then that causes the conflict, internal tension that's only going to be working against the movement of where we want to go. So key is befriending the fear. Where do you feel the fear in your body? What is the fear trying to say to you? What does the fear need? And providing for the fear. Okay, I'm feeling whatever it is. What is the fear? So often, this is an internal process that I guide a client through. Or if I'm doing Gestalt therapy, I'll put um, the client who is fearful, say what you're fearful about to your provider self, the one who's in charge. I'm afraid of change. I'm afraid of self-renewal. So I say, tell them what you're afraid of. And the information comes through.
Could we do something real quick, you and I? Like, I'm an open book. I don't really care. So something that I'm fearful of would be, and it's funny because I talk about it. Oh, now this is really coming up. It's bubbling up now. Oh my gosh! Wow. Oh my God. Okay, I'll just say it. There always is that fear of failure. I've been a massage therapist. I've been a massage instructor. I wanted to have a holistic therapy center. That didn't work out. I went from, many of you might not know this, I went from Leo Burnett Advertising in Chicago, being in the media department, and went from there to working at Ed DeBevic's crazy 50s, 60s restaurant. Had so much fun, becoming and then of course my parents were still alive, but it wasn't good enough. Don't tell the family that you're jumping on the tables. So when I became a manager, our son is a a restaurant manager for a multi-million-dollar restaurant downtown. I'm like, this is like, it's worse than Catholic or Jewish guilt. I was like, Greek guilt. Oh my God, it's like, oh, my son is, I'm like, really? So there was always that, even though they were wonderful, don't get me wrong, everybody, you know how much I love my parents, but there was always that piece of, well, you did this, but that would have been better. And I feel like, okay, so yes, I've written a book. Yes, I've been in another book. Yes, I have my other book that I have to rewrite because when my computer went down, all those notes are gone. So I have that piece, but that fear of failure, it really, like, even as I say it, it's in the stomach. So what would you have me do?
Okay, so you have two options. We can go into an internal process and connect with the fear that you're feeling in your gut space. Does that feel okay?
Sure, whatever you.
We can do Gestalt.
You're the one in charge. Whatever.
Or we can do a little bit of Gestalt. Which one do you want? Which one are you feeling moved towards?
I want to do what you feel is will be beneficial for everyone here.
Okay. So let's go into an internal process.
Okay.
Okay, so close your eyes. Yeah, feel your feet on the ground.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Yeah. So I want you to take an inhale, ride the wave of the breath inward into that space in your gut, Elias, where you feel that sensation of fear of failure. And let me know if there's a physical quality to that fear of failure. What does it feel like?
It feels like my heart has sunk into my stomach, like my stomach is beating instead of my heart beating.
Mm-hmm. So like a pounding.
Like a pounding, yes.
Yes. Go ahead and acknowledge the presence of the pounding that's connected to the fear of failure in your gut. Just let it know, I'm here with you. I'm here with you. I'm willing to spend time with you a few moments as we do. And let it know, I really want to know more about you. Tell me about you. Where do you come from? Who do you belong to? Let it know you're curious about it. Where did you originate? Let me know if you get anything. Yeah.
Oh yeah, right away. Right away. It is, and here's a funny thing. and this is for everybody, I'm still keeping my eyes closed to stay with this.
Yeah.
Um, Years of working on this, and it's still interesting how the layers just keep on coming up.
Yeah.
It goes back to what I saw was me going from foster home to foster home to foster home to foster home.
Mhm.
That fear of not being, and this is so funny, this fear of not being wanted or needed. But I know that's not true. Does that make sense?
Yes, but
Even
the feeling of that child, that's what the child, so then the invitation would be, are you willing to provide for that baby that was being taken from foster home to foster home? What is that baby needing?
interesting. And this is something that my parents always used to tell me. So
Uh-huh.
fascinating. Intissar, this is so fascinating. I hope this is helping everybody. I really do. Um, what I'm hearing is, assurance of knowing that everything's going to be okay.
Okay, so tell the baby, I hear that you need the assurance that everything is going to be okay. And provide for him. Tell him, whisper in his ear in a way that he wants to be assured. Put your hand on his heart, hold him. Let him know. I assure you, everything is going to be okay. And breathe into that. As you do that, just let me know if there's anything else you're noticing.
That's good. And just for time purposes, I'm going to open my eyes.
Yeah, open
Um,
your gently. I was going to
so
say.
thanks, guys, for letting me do that. So there's a warmer feeling in my stomach.
Okay, there was a shift. Yeah.
Yes, there's not a pounding. Saw I actually saw me holding baby me and saying, "I'm the adult now.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
And I just gave myself the chills.
Yeah.
I got you, and I know more than I've ever known. I know all this stuff. You had great parents that took you out of that place. You're not going to go into that place because guess what? They always said you're always going to be taken care of. You have to believe that. And look what's happening to you now.
Yeah.
You are being taken care of. Every turn that you come into shows that everything for a reason.
Right. And this was the baby prior to your parents grabbing you.
Yes.
You. So you're providing for the baby before mom and dad showed up. That's who
Yeah.
you were providing for, right?
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I never thought that being in 5 foster homes would have this kind of
Impact.
exactly, because I mean, I don't even remember anything. I mean, I remember nothing. I do remember, and this is even before my mom told me, I do remember being in a window, like my crib was right next to a window. She's like, "You remember that?" I'm like, It's a brief, quick flash, but that's what I remember."
Yes, but that's you're referring to head memory, brain memory.
Brain memory, yes.
Your soul and your body remember. Body memory is way more like stronger and
Right.
real than head memory. So your body remembers. Your body remembers being in these different foster homes. Your soul remembers.
And I think this is really important because, you know, and and you guys know that I'm an open book, and please know I don't need anybody pour me. That's not what I'm looking for here. But also being a sexual abuse survivor, that part I feel got healed. And that's why I think I went into massage school and learned about positive touch and everything else. Um, but I really believe that this little one,
Mhm.
um, it's just interesting. It's no matter how much these two loved me, it was like you said, it was from that adoption to now, to even now, that I've always felt that love. It was that love and that uncertainty prior to 18 months was, I mean, when I spoke to my birth mother, she never got to hold me. She's like, she didn't want to. So swept up right away. Soon as I was born, out.
Right. And what happens? Why is it important to heal our childhood infant wounds? Because if we don't, that child will stay in charge.
Oh, interesting. Wow.
Yes. So oftentimes when people will say, I can't, or I feel this, or I feel bad, or I feel, that's the child being in charge, not the adult.
Right. Right.
Right.
So
So the one who's saying I feel like a failure is really more of that originates with the infant who's afraid of not being taken in.
right. Not
Right.
being accepted. Right.
Yeah. Right. Not so much adult Elias. It's
No.
more child, the infant speaking, but he gets activated.
Right. Because adult Elias doesn't really care. Adult Elias is like, I mean, I'm an open book. I don't really care. You like me, you like me. You don't, you don't. You know, it's I will plow my way up to the mountain no matter what. So I'm good. That was good, Intissar. Thank you so much. And here's a question, and we'll go to what people are saying too. Thanks everyone so much again. My belief, now tell me what your belief is. I believe, and I was talking to a friend about this, I believe, like you said, the body holds so much memory. I believe that all of our emotions and those people that have fibromyalgia, I think all that trapped memory is in there. I think that hurt comes up or that pain comes up because it's trapped old emotion from who knows when.
Yeah, I think it's with any. I think that our physical body is it's sort of the last call for help.
Yeah.
Something is not right for me here. But I also want to make it very clear. Sometimes people feel that when it's spoken of in that way, they feel like it's my fault. I'm to blame. There's no blame or there's fault. There's just signals that we get, and oftentimes we ignore until then we can't ignore it anymore. And it becomes a major shift within our physical body that we need to pay attention to.
It's funny, Intissar, because now like my head is buzzing and kind of clearing. It's just fascinating. And the heart's getting warm. So fascinating. Pat Johnson says, fear keeps us stuck. Fear keeps us stuck in old patterns and creates illness in the body. Fear needs to be recognized, processed, and released. Yes, so true. Hi, Mikey. Good to see you. Greetings from Chicago. And I adjusted my crown, one queen in my castle, and without apology. Blessed be. Yes, sir. Joyce says, good evening. I've been stuck for a long time. Well, Joyce, now is the time, you know, and I'll talk about from an energetical piece, you know, starting astrologically, the new year actually starts in the sign of Aries. So we're shifting. All the old gook is just starting to like unpeel and let go so we can shift into the new astrological year, if that makes sense.
Can I offer Joyce a little?
Yes, please.
So, you know, in Gestalt therapy, we exaggerate the feeling. So stuck, I would invite the client to like get up and exaggerate that stuckness, that motion, and to really feel into that. And then notice, what do I need when you're in that place of stuckness? What do I need to move?
Yeah.
Try enacting that. It's helpful.
I love Gestalt theory. It's so much fun. It's good. Dee Dee, good to see you, my friend. Hey, Terry, good to see you. Nice to see you. Steve Katz, long time no see, sir. This is amazing. Befriending the fear. The fear is trying to help you, not hurt you.
That's right.
Anita says, so helpful. I'm so stuck right now. Okay, let's keep on going. I'm glad I'm glad I'm not Greek. I couldn't handle the trifecta of guilt. Catholic and Jewish is plenty. You're cute. Hello, Beth Allen, once again. Irma, good evening. Good to see you. The sound is like it's coming through the bottom of a well when Intissar speaks.
Oh no.
Is everybody else experiencing that? I hope not. Yes, it's helping. Thank you, Liza Intissar. You're welcome. You're welcome. If I may share, my inner queen wisdom is to read the guest house poem by Rumi.
Mhm.
Bless me. Okay, that's awesome.
It's a beautiful poem. Yeah.
Um, I just wanted to say I'm listening and I'm almost in tears myself. I needed to hear this tonight. Also, whenever Intisar speaks, I feel all these calming tingles in my body.
I'm glad you received that, Lee.
That's great, Lee. And you guys, Lee is also a psychic medium. He's been on before. He was on my live in January, and just very, very intuitive and a really good-hearted person. Okay, oops. I hate when I do this because then I miss people. And there we go. Kathy, hello again. I think it's repeating. I'm not sure. It's lovely it's lovely the way you both hold space. Thank you for being open and full of love. You're welcome, Danielle. You're so welcome. Hello, Maureen. Sharon, how do you release it?
Okay, so um, I think it's really important because oftentimes I remember long ago I used to really get frustrated when I would hear someone say, "Just let it go, just release it." I don't know how to. What I do? Give it wings and let it fly? Just like can somebody tell me how to do that, please? Right? How do we release? From my perspective, the release, the letting go happens when we feel it and get through the feeling. So if I'm feeling the fear, that's how it gets released, is by feeling it all the way through until it's, I always say it's like going through a tunnel, right?
Right.
Through that tunnel and coming out, right? That's when the release happens. That's when the letting go happens. But there is no magical process of just making the intentionality of I'm releasing my fear. The fear is not going to go anywhere. It's not going to get released until it's felt. That's what's going to calm it and say, okay, I'm good for now.
And I find it fascinating because the work that I do when we can do retreats again goes so much with this without even knowing that, these indigenous cultures that take them on a guided meditation and take them into a cave and do whatever they do. And then like on one of the retreats, I don't know, Sharon, if you were there, but on one of the retreats, I have people, they do exercises during the day, and then we go to the fire at night, and we look at which chakra the word is stuck in. And so mine was way back when I did this in my apprenticeship program. I screamed out, "Not good enough," and I cut that energetical cord, and we screamed it into the fire. That was powerful. It was so powerful to really. I mean, it was late at night. There was nobody around, so let me tell you, I was not shy, and I really screamed. And because we were by a lake, it vibrated and echoed. You could hear it. And it was interesting to hear those words.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, when everybody did it, the next day, they looked completely different.
Right. Ritual is really helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's good.
I think it's always from my perspective again, Elias, it's a combination. It's never just the one thing. It's
Yes,
a combination of multiple things.
exactly. Mikey says, thank you. We survivors, especially those who never became abusers, survive because we owe it to ourselves. So true. Mary Love. So accepting the fear and focusing on what is causing the fear should help squash the fear and calm it.
So it's it is a process of focusing on it, but focusing on it with intention of befriending it, getting to know it. What is it about? What is it? What are you trying to tell me? What is it that you need? So it's not really about squashing it or forcing it out. It's really about, so I always use this analogy. If anybody's had a 2-year-old in their life, right? And the 2-year-old is screaming and like yanking at your calf, trying to get your attention. If you keep trying to shush it, what's going to happen? That 2-year-old is just going to escalate and escalate and escalate, right? So until finally you come down to their level and see what do they need. But what does this 2-year-old need, right? Same thing. It's like attending to these feelings that are just sometimes too much unbearable. Like the fear can be exaggerated in the body. It can get in our way. It can be feeling so big. And the more we resist it, the more it persists. So getting to know it, befriending it, talking to it, giving it voice. What are you afraid of? What is the fear saying? That's how I find it to be helpful to then calm it. Calms because it got what it needed. It got the attention. It got the assurance, right?
Right.
Whatever.
Pat Johnson says, yes, the unresolved emotions play a big role in illness like fibromyalgia. Yes. Hello, Hannah. Thank you for joining us. Such good.
Hi, Hannah.
Thank you. Nita says, me too. Hello, Melissa. Thank you for the information. You're welcome, Joyce. Chaos was my entire childhood. 24 schools, farmed out many places. Heart beating and gut still feels like flight or fight. This really helps. Thank you so much. You're welcome. I started writing my story and erased it. It's too much. Okay.
Yeah, and you can write a story that you want your life to be. Write a new story for yourself as well.
This says, yes, sometimes sound is underwater. Okay. And then Hannah says, no, I can hear her fine.
Okay, great.
Yes, like underwater, but I can understand her. Okay, excellent. Oh, you're welcome, Lee. You're welcome. I just adore you. I just think you're a good egg, and I think it's really important. Like Intissar. She's a good egg, and I think it's really important to have people be spotlighted that are good. Hello, Jan. Good to see you. Exactly. Hold to you, let it go. That makes me feel out of control more than in control.
I'm not sure I can exactly hold to you.
Oh, how do you let it go? Maybe. Jan, can you type your statement, please? I just want to make sure that we understand it correctly. To let it go makes you feel out of control more than in control. Well, we'll come back to this, okay? Trust me. Irma, I don't know why I am stuck. How do I figure it out?
Mm-hmm. Same way as the fear, get information from the stuckness. So rather than thinking and trying to analyze what the stuckness is about, locate the stuckness if it's somewhere in the body, or exaggerate the feeling of stuckness and get information from the stuckness. It will let you know what the stuckness is about rather than you trying to figure out.
Sharon said, yes, we did that. Very powerful. I forgot, Sharon. I'm so sorry. So many retreats, God, 38, 39. I don't even remember. Emmy says, fear can rule me if I let it. So true. Lindsay, feel it and release it. Don't force it away or bury it, whatever it is.
Sure.
Nina says, I don't know my story. It's buried. It's their trauma. It's their trauma or neglect. It's buried.
And I just want to speak about that. When something is buried, if it wants to come out, it can come out. I never force anything out with the client. So it's okay. That's protective. If the story needs to stay buried, allow it to stay buried. There's no reason to go in and try to excavate anything. Yeah.
Lee says, you can't see it, but I have a big smile right now. Spelling out. Thank you so much. I think you're a good egg too. Thanks. Thanks. It's an old people saying, being a good egg. It's by generation. Lee. Let's see. Okay. Does anybody, how are you doing? Are you okay?
Well, great.
Okay, good. Questions, you guys, that you might have. You guys are coming up with some really great comments. So thank you so much. I love this work. I mean, I shouldn't say I wish I did, but I guess it just wasn't meant to be for me to finish my psych degree, but it was so fascinating. I really loved the whole body, mind, spirit piece. And when I went back to school after my mom got sick, and then and I left school, and then I waited a couple years, went back, then my dad got sick. I waited a couple years, and then I went back again, and the third time my dad had like a mini stroke. And, I was like, you know what, as an only child, so I only had 1 year to finish. But I did my paper on Erik Erikson's 8 Stages of Man, comparing and contrasting them to the 7 chakras, which I thought was fascinating. But I think, understanding that the spirit is so much in this work, and that we forget about that gut part. We forget about that hard part. We think that here can cover everything, but this needs the microphone. This needs the microphone. I think this always gets the microphone.
Absolutely, because I think culturally we value here. That's
right.
And I can tell you that when I went through my master's program, I asked, why do we not speak about the spiritual component of being a human being? And they said, we just don't do that here. That's not allowed in the office. When the client comes in, that stays out of the room. And I really had a hard time with that. I can't work that way. I don't live that way, so I can't work that way. Right.
That's just, I mean, I remember when I was learning some of the shamanic stuff, and a session would come up where we wouldn't do shamanic stuff, but we would do, therapy. And it was around being adopted. And she laid me on the floor, threw her blanket over me, put some crystals on me. She rattled over me, and she led me into a guided meditation. We did that, and then came out of the session, and we talked about it.
Yeah.
And we processed it.
I used my crystal bowls in my last session. I just do whatever feels. I feel moved.
Right. And that's what I love about private practice, because
absolutely. Since if we don't have any questions, I'd love to speak about, since this is about renewal, if we could do a little bit. How much time do we have left, Elaine?
We have as much time as you want, sister. Doesn't really, usually I go for an hour.
Okay. In a few minutes.
Let me just read what Mary says. Thank you. I always buried my fears, but now trying to learn how to accept, and all these new changes going on. Mary, just so you know, lost her husband several months ago. So it is a couple of months ago, actually, rather. And so it's been a hard time. So, and guys, everybody, please, many of you know her, and she asked, and I wanted to say this on here. I'll do it in the meditation too. Many of you know, oh my God, Janie. And she's been on here. I kid about her because I caught her on camera eating with a banana. So please say a prayer for her. She asked for prayers. She is actually in the hospital. So let's just pray for her. And she wants to get out of the hospital because Friday is her father's funeral. So prayers for her. Okay. Renewal would be so helpful. Okay, go for it.
So when I say relationships or relationship, oftentimes you'll think of your relationship with someone else. And the truth is, we have a relationship with ourselves. So it's I, Intissar, have a relationship with you, Intissar. Yes. So I usually am the provider, the one who's in charge, the one who's in like the parent figure, and you, Intissar, is the one who receives. So I'll take you shopping, or I'll take you to work, or I'll take you, but we don't think of it that way. We just go to work. We go
Right.
shopping, right? And so um, thoughts are thoughts are the language that we use with ourselves. So we have this silent dialogue constantly in our head of, why did you do that? That was really stupid. What were you thinking? Right? Oftentimes it's a very judgmental, negative self-talk that happens in here silently, right?
Mm.
My teacher, Mariah, my Gestalt teacher, used to say, if I were to go hand in hand with you for an entire day and I heard everything that you said in your head to yourself, would I want to wake up and join you for another day, or would I want to run away?
Wow.
Because she used to say, we are our biggest bullies. We bully ourselves all day long, and then we say, I don't feel confident. I don't have any self-esteem. It's because we're beating ourselves up all day long. And so the wonderful thing is that this relationship can change to become a more supportive one, a more gentler, kinder one. And so noticing when you are saying something really mean to yourself, turn that around and say something like, honey, it's okay. You made a mistake. It's all right.
Mm.
You'll be okay. And for anybody who's still live with us, just can you close your eyes, everyone, and put your hand on your heart, and let's make the intention of using this moment to um, shift this relationship with ourselves to become a more positive and loving and kind and generous one, a less judgmental one into a more supportive one. And I'd like you to say your name out loud to yourself. Let's say Intissar. And say, I love you. I want to be kinder to you. I want to learn to be gentler and more supportive of you. And really feel into that. Feel into, like I said to my client, I said, renewing or even writing new vows for your relationship with yourself. So important to show up feeling loved, to show up feeling supported. Because oftentimes we're looking for it from the outside world. And we forget that we can also provide it for ourselves. It doesn't mean we don't need support from the external world. We do. And the beauty is we can provide it for ourselves. We can provide the love. We can provide the care. So I hope whoever's live with us can feel into this possibility of shifting the relationship that you have into a more loving and supportive one. That's the biggest renewal, the biggest gift of renewal you can give yourself. So,
That was really nice. Sharon says, we can't escape ourselves. So true. So true. Thank you so much. Does anybody have any final questions for Intissar? And if somebody wanted to, I'm just going to ask, are you taking new clients? Are you not taking new clients?
I welcome new clients. And I do have a short waiting list.
Okay. Because you're seeing your clients like this, correct?
And I do see some people who want to come in the office as well.
Okay.
I do both.
Okay. So if you're,
mostly online.
If you're in Pennsylvania, you can definitely. But if you wanted to go on Intissar's list, how do they contact you?
So I don't have a website because I'm anti-marketing. uh, so,
I just adore you.
my phone number, my work phone number, that you can reach me.
Or do you your work phone number? Okay. But they can look you up. You
Actually, on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn. I do have a little profile.
yes.
LinkedIn, yeah.
So look her up on LinkedIn. Um, Mary's, where can we find her? Is there a website? I'll put that up in a second. Are you okay with me putting your last name on here? Okay. So, guys, you would go look her up in LinkedIn, and it's on the flyer that you guys saw. So there's this. So you could look up the. Oh gosh, wow, that thing goes in three places because we're on 2 Facebook places and in YouTube. So that's great. Okay, there's so much to process from tonight. Thank you so much. Excellent. This is all new to me. Is there any books I could purchase to learn more about this?
Learn more about which part, Mary?
Mary, I would look her up on LinkedIn and see if you can.
If you could tell me exactly what you're looking for in terms of books, I'd be happy to share.
Would you come back again? This was so, I mean, we could totally do this again and do a whole new topic. I'm thinking, Sarah May said, thank you, Intissar, such an interesting perspective and approach. I loved it. Excellent. Thank you. But wait, guys, don't leave. Don't leave yet because we have 2 winners.
Let's see winners.
We have 2 winners, right? So don't leave yet. Okay. I'm going to not look and scroll. And I'm going to scroll, and stop. Okay. Wow. Look at this. Kathy, you won a half an hour session with me.
Yay, Kathy.
Well, congratulations. Congratulations, Kathy. I'm writing it down so I don't forget because Priscilla took the evening off. She needed to rest, and I told her she was feeling really bad, but I told her too bad. So, Kathy, you have my email. Email me, and just so I know, you'll say half an hour session from 3:17, and I'll know exactly what that is. Put that in the thing. Okay. Now the grand prize winner of an hour session. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, let me put my fingers on the scroller here. Okay, ready? And not looking. And we're scrolling. I like to do this into scrolling, right. Okay. And stop. Oh, wow. We're gonna have to get some time stuff with this. Claudette, you won a whole hour session with me. A whole hour. So congratulations, Claudette, and congratulations, Kathy. Thank you both for doing this, and everybody else. Thank you so much, guys, for being on here. So you can go to LinkedIn, and Sue says it would probably help a lot of families. Yes. Gabriella says, whoa, whoa, whoa. Thank you both. Congratulations. Yep. Okay. Oh my God. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you both. Kathy says, so excited. So social workers are not allowed to use this? Use what, Sue?
Thank you.
You're welcome, Hannah. Thank you. Thank you. And guys, just so you know, there might be a surprise on Saturday. So make sure you come back on Saturday. Oh, and before you leave, remember in an hour, we're doing guided meditation in an hour. So come back in an hour. But on Saturday, guys, because I am up to 2,000 and some followers, I'm going to do another giveaway contest. So that will be fun. And actually, we're going to do more giveaways of more sessions with me. So make sure that you tune in on Saturday. And on Saturday, if you haven't already gone to my website, clicked on my email list, send me a question for March Madness. I'll bring you on live with me and we'll answer your question. Make sure it's not a yes or no question. And who knows, past loved ones might come through. It's all, who knows? This type of therapy. You have to be trained in Gestalt therapy, correct?
Yes. I mean, technically, yes.
Thanks, Steve. Yeah. So that's true. Thanks, Steve. And Connie says, congrats. I just adore you. You did so well.
Thank you.
I'm saying you did so well because I know you were like, oh, but you are a natural, my dear. You are a natural. You're a natural. Thank you, Sarah May, so much for putting that up there. I so appreciate that. You are a complete natural. And
thank you for giving me the opportunity to spend some time with you live. Wow.
Yeah. And you've got a heart of gold, my dear. And I wish you
your heart.
Oh, you're sweet. You're sweet. So we'll talk about later on. We'll talk about you coming back because I'm sure we can think of other topics. And guys, thank you so much for being open to this. And questions are always good. That's how, once again, like I always say, this is how we connect.
Yeah.
When we connect, we educate one another. And when we educate, we grow. There's unity and community. See you guys in, what is it? It's 8:02. Okay, can't do the math in my head right now. See you in 58 minutes and for guided meditation tonight. Thanks, everyone. Have a beautiful night.
Bye.
Thank you.